and welcome. I'm Laurel Stewart, and here's what happened this week. Taiwan celebrated its National Day on Friday. President Ching-te was at the celebrations in Taipei and used his speech to lay out Taiwan's plans to boost its defense capabilities while calling on China to stop its military threats against the country. Cadence Caranta was there and has this report.
Taiwan is celebrating its National Day with a big ceremony here in the middle of Taipei and a speech from its president, Ching-te, who had some words for China.
我们也期待中国能体现大国的责任，停止扭曲联合国大会第2758号决议以及二战历史文件，并且放弃以武力及胁迫方式改变台海现状。
In his speech, Lai talked about Taiwan's plans to improve its defense capabilities, reiterating increases to defense spending. He says they'll be using that budget to do things like speed up development of a so-called T-dome, which is an elaborate air defense system that can intercept aerial attacks, as well as integrate AI into its combat systems.
进而成为有盟信赖的安全合作伙伴，共同排除红色供应链。 为自由民主国家建立国防信任，一起建构守护自由民主价值的坚强防线。我们有决心透过实力维护和平。
He also talked about Taiwan's plans to help local businesses deal with U.S. tariffs, promising to continue negotiations with the U.S. and reduce Taipei's trade deficit with Washington. Messages aimed at reassuring Taiwan's public that the economy will hold steady. The day also featured performances from dance groups, bands, and Taiwan's military, with nearly 200 foreign dignitaries in attendance, as well as members of the public, many of whom say they feel proud of their country and are excited to celebrate its birthday.
Birthday 就是那种对台湾一定要有的一个向心力，爱国。对 ，I love Taiwan, I love 花莲，台湾 Go Go Go。
我们会很开心的，因为感觉这一块土地上的人民是很团结的。
祖先们啊，创建这个国家也是很不容易，他们都经历过很多很艰辛的挑战啊，然后漂洋过海这样子，然后我们也很努力的用自己的方式去维持我们台湾的，不管是生活啊，或者甚至说自由，我觉得这都是很有意义的。
Others say they want to represent their communities.
代表越南的新住民来到台湾，对，然后穿自己的越南的国服，对，来参与。
因为我们住台湾久了，我们爱台湾，对，台湾也是我们第二个家。
It's been a very festive morning with performances and crowds celebrating Taiwan's democracy and diverse culture, and Lai's presidential address hoping to offer some optimism as the country faces economic challenges and growing geopolitical pressures. Fu Hua Hong and Cadence Caranta for TaiwanPlus.
To learn more about President Lai's National Day speech, our reporter Tiffany Wong spoke to Wen-Ti Song, non-resident fellow at the Atlantic Council's Global China Hub.
A big topic that comes up in most National Day speeches is Taiwan's relations with China and security in the Taiwan Strait. How do you think Lai's speech compares from this year to last year, which was his first National Day speech?
I think Lai, bilaterally, he tried to be using more graceful language towards China when he called on China to talk about assuming responsibility befitting of a great power. He's really calling on China to listen to the better angels of Beijing's nature and the better angel that Lai still believes Beijing has. And when it comes to more multilateral terms, that's when he tried to be more deterrent oriented. When he talked about first island chain, Taiwan position, and that regional countries have reason for building common cause to deter and dissuade Beijing from regional geopolitical expansionism. I think Lai this year is very specific about the defense strategy Taiwan's pursuing, specifically a symmetric strategy. And he also talked about he's about to launch what he called Taiwan Dome, that is a strong anti-missile attack system, air defenses for Taiwan. He talked about building more collaboration with the defense sectors of other advanced nations who are most likely like-minded partners who share Taiwan's democratic values, so that together they can pursue a joint non-red support supply chain, especially when it comes to defense sectors.
Lai's been a big advocate of peace through strength. So with, like you said, boosting defense spending and this T-dome air defense system, what do you think will be the international reaction to this? With like-minded partners, but also with China?
I think the international community is going to feel very encouraged. They're going to have more confidence in Taiwan's commitment to its own defense. Lai is pretty comprehensive. He talked about strengthening internal balance and external balance. Internal balance, internal strengthen Taiwan's own domestic defense system as the increased spending. Also by external balance, that is leveraging more friends, partners from abroad so that they can lock themselves into a more sustainable, longer-term ecosystem of defense cooperation and thereby creating more path dependency that's going to sustain Taiwan's defensive commitments going forward. So international countries who are watching should be very emboldened by Taiwan's commitment to defense, judging from Lai's speech.
Well, Lai also talked a lot about social welfare policies and ways that he wants to help students, elderly people, and just people in Taiwan and facing the daily challenges. So what do you think is the message that he's trying to send to the people of Taiwan?
That while Taiwan enjoyed great economic success and growth recently, a redistributed justice remains high on the agenda. That President Lai sees not only bigger pictures about international turmoil, economic situation, he also cares about the story of the little guys and little girls in Taiwan. And that is why he talks so much about investing in Taiwan's elderly and Taiwan's youth as well. And this manifests in increased program for taking care of healthcare, as well as more education subsidy for Taiwan younger students.
That was Wen-Ti Song from the Atlantic Council. National Day celebrations in Washington were missing a key figure this year, the chair of AIT. That's the US's de facto embassy in Taipei. That's because the position has been vacant for over half a year. To break down what that may mean for US-Taiwan relations, Cadence Garanta has this report.
Here, U.S. Congress members and representatives of Taiwan's diplomatic allies are among hundreds of guests gathered for an annual celebration of Taiwan's National Day in Washington, D.C., but with one noticeable absence. The top official at the U.S.'s de facto Taiwan embassy, its U.S.-based chair, who often attends this event, is missing. That's because right now, the American Institute in Taiwan, or AIT, has no chair. Its previous chair, Laura Rosenberger, exited the post in January as U.S. President Donald Trump started his second term. AIT kept the move low-key, only confirming her departure after local media spotted that she was suddenly listed on the AIT website as a former chair and that her profile picture and name had been removed from the AIT chair account on X. Now, over 8 months later, the role still has not been filled. TaiwanPlus spoke with multiple people familiar with the matter, including current and former officials from both Taiwan and the U.S., most of whom requested anonymity, to understand more about what this may mean. We learned from at least 2 sources that conversations about a new AIT chair are ongoing, with veteran diplomat Brent Christensen floated as a possibility. Christensen, who headed the AIT's Taipei office from 2018 to 2021, did not respond to a request for comment on these conversations. Some feel filling this role is important. As the top official at AIT, the chair is an intermediary between the U.S. and Taiwan. The two sides don't have official diplomatic relations, cut off in 1979 when the U.S. established relations with China, but they do maintain unofficial ties, which the AIT chair helps maintain.
Yes, absolutely. Welcome again. It's wonderful to see you here.
For example, they meet with Taiwanese officials when they visit the U.S.
When you had someone at a senior level come from Taiwan, they want to be shown respect. And having that chairman at that senior level who can say, oh, I talked to the Secretary of State and he asked me to say thank you for something you had done for him a year ago. You know, technically it's not important, but yeah, it really is important.
The chair also helps formulate and execute U.S. policy on Taiwan, participating in U.S. government meetings. When the post is empty, Keegan says it's possible their seat could be filled with someone with less specific expertise on the country.
when it comes to Taiwan-specific issues, they can't say, oh yeah, I was talking to Ray Green in Taipei on the phone yesterday, and we were trying to hash this out, and here's what we heard. That doesn't happen. And that's a weakness, particularly on an issue as sensitive as Taiwan.
Other former U.S. diplomats say filling the role may be an important signal for US-Taiwan relations.
I'm certain it's important to have the chair. I think, the staff who are actually at the AIT missions, in Kaohsiung and in Taipei are doing their job very, very well. But I do think it would be appropriate and important as at least a signal of the importance of the relationship between Taiwan and the United States that the chair position be filled as soon as possible.
But there are others who view the role as less critical. One former AIT official called the position primarily ceremonial, emphasizing that its responsibilities can now be performed by others. Though the presence of an AIT chair could still be seen as symbolic, the official said, it has little impact on AIT's operations or U.S. policy on Taiwan. A former Taiwan diplomat also pointed out that on central U.S.-Taiwan issues this year, like trade talks between the two sides, U.S. and Taiwanese negotiators were able to meet directly and did not need the AIT chair as an intermediary. Chair vacancies are not necessarily unusual, Keegan said, during periods of transition between U.S. administrations. But this does appear to be the longest gap in recent years. The longest ever vacancy was around 2 years, between 2004 and 2006. But records show there was a designated acting chair during that time. Keegan and other sources say the holdup in appointing a new chair may be due to multiple parts of the U.S. government needing to agree on a candidate, which may take some time. It's also part of a wider trend, as the Trump administration has moved slowly on appointing many senior-level diplomatic positions, many of which remain open. This could have to do with understaffing in some offices, as well as other factors.
It's also because this administration wants to go through a far more intensive political loyalty vetting. Okay? And that means not only are you only getting candidates from one party, you're only getting candidates from one sliver of one party. And that means you don't have a lot of candidates.
This also comes as the Trump administration has several times appeared to undercut relations with Taiwan during trade negotiations with China. And as Trump says, he plans to meet with Chinese President Xi Jinping in person later this month. AIT did not respond to a request for comment. In a statement, a spokesperson for the U.S. State Department, which is responsible for recommending a candidate to the AIT Board of Trustees, said it has no announcements at this time regarding the chair position, but stressed that the U.S.'s position on Taiwan has not changed, remaining committed to its one China policy and preserving stability in the Taiwan Strait. The U.S. Senate did also just approve dozens of political appointees, including diplomatic posts, signaling some movement on that front. But for the U.S.'s de facto embassy in Taiwan, it's still unclear how long the wait will be to get its top spot filled. James Lin and Cadence Quaranta for TaiwanPlus.
Chinese vessels appear to be masking their identity with spoofed ID signals to test Taiwan's defenses. US-based military think tank Institute for the Study of War reports that throughout August and September, several Chinese fishing boats operating in Taiwan's exclusive economic zone sent fake automatic identification system signals, with one posing as a Russian warship and another as a Chinese Coast Guard vessel. China uses its maritime militia, civilian fishing boats that can be mobilized for surveillance or harassment, as part of its grey zone tactics to wear down Taiwan's defences. Thank you for watching Here's What Happened. Finally, here's more from National Day rehearsals from earlier this week. I'm Laurel Stewart. Take care and see you next time.